Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from Fluent 2016 in San Francisco. I'm here with Jonathan Kaufman. Jonathan, how you doing?
Doing great.
So you're at IBM in Cambridge, Mass?
Yeah.
Yes. And you work on cognitive things at IBM, or?
Yeah, let's say that I work with cognitive things.
Okay,
right?
and what does working with cognitive things mean?
So the idea of a cognitive application is the idea that an app can be smarter than the developers that program it, right? So instead of the developers having to program every single possible scenario that a user can take, they can just say, hey, here's a bunch of data, and I want my app to be smart about the user action.
So it actually learns from the use
so
of...
it could learn from historical data as well as data that's being fed in every day.
So are you combining a bunch of machine learning and AI into these sort of applications? Is that how you're doing this?
Yeah, at the heart of every cognitive application is going to be a lot of machine learning and AI, but we could put AI in quotes if you want.
Yeah.
Right, because it's just the idea that the application can learn over time and can predict what the user wants without the user having to specifically say it.
And so what is the future of building these kind of applications?
So the sort of ultimate end goal would be, your personal assistant computer where you can just interact with it, say, hey, give me my important email, route me to wherever, and it can sort of do that for you, sort of like, Jarvis from Iron Man, or
it could be my implant in my over here.
Yeah, or in the dystopian case, it could be Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
So,
what is IBM doing with cognitive? Because I know you've got Watson. It seems like Watson's everywhere nowadays. Is he branched out, or?
Yeah. So what we've done is we've broken Watson into a series of 15 different discrete APIs that any, Joe, the average developer, can tap into. We have our platform as a service, Bluemix, and on Bluemix you can add any Watson services to your app to make it smarter.
So you have SoftLayer at the bottom, Bluemix there, and then you have your Watson API calls into?
Yeah, so on Bluemix everything is blank as a service. So in addition to all the database as a services or Internet of Things as a service, you can also get Watson as a service. And what we'll do is, we can bind an instance of Watson for you, and you can tap into it.
Oh, is that WAS? Watson as a service? A new product line?
Yeah.
I like that. So I think I kind of went down the rat hole with you here about AI.
Yeah.
And cognitive is not necessarily AI. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, right? So, do computers think as we do? No, right? Because we still, at the end of the day, are sort of teaching them. And so cognitive is sort of this more broad term to describe these systems where they can respond based on context and user action and not be really pre-predicted. So whether or not we want to consider that AI is really up for whoever's better at words than I am, right? But we could call them AI.
Or redefining AI or whatever. Yeah. So are there any applications that you guys have built recently that really showcase
Yeah, so there's been a big focus in IBM Health where we've done research with Sloan Kettering and in the Cleveland Clinic to sort of have a Dr. Watson that can learn from historical patient data and read medical journals as they come out to help suggest new treatments to doctors.
So it would read like my profile and people similar to me, these drugs work better curing these diseases?
Yeah, because it's sort of unknowable for doctors to know everything that comes out, and it's also unknowable for one human to know how every drug is going to relate with every other possible drug. And that's sort of an area that's ripe for these cognitive systems because they can learn over time. They can learn from existing data. They can suggest with some degree of confidence based on the data that they have what treatment plans doctors can take.
So you could apply cognitive to a lot of different industries, though. So what other ones are you guys looking at? I mean, medical and data sounds really like a natural fit.
Yeah.
But there are other ones too. Maybe we could even apply it to our political process.
Yeah. So these systems work great where there's this large set of data that we sort of want to be queryable and accessible by humans, right? So that can really be anything. It can be law, it can be education, really anything where there's a huge data set that's impossible for one person to parse through is
right.
where.
So if you you personally picked an area that there's a real problem in the world.
Yeah.
What would you want to solve with the technology
That's
is
a big
available?
question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we've already talked about health, and that's certainly I think is a great starting point. As far as things that directly affect me, you've mentioned politics. I think that why not have Watson for president, right? He could read all the laws, know what works, know what doesn't work. We could start from there.
That would be interesting. Actually, that would kind of be interesting, to more informed. Yeah. I also think that like the redistribution of resources, like water and food and things like that, could be really
Absolutely.
useful as well.
Yeah.
So if you were to fast forward, let's say 12 months from now, what will you be doing in the cognitive space, you personally, with IBM?
That's also hard to say. I could say.
What would you like to be doing?
Yeah. So things that I found myself doing with Watson services are sort of enhancing applications that already exist. For example, you could take some kind of like shopping app where you're searching for stuff and the search is okay, right? You might have like your faceted search results and you could go through stuff, and that's an okay experience that that we're all used to doing. But you could sort of enhance something like that with this cognitive aspect where the system knows your tastes, it knows more about you. And so when you say, hey, I want shoes, it could say, hey, here are the exact shoes that I know that you want based on your taste. It's really doing things like that.
And my taste wouldn't be from clicks on websites, but more by what I do?
Well, I mean, so this is in this hypothetical system. It would be, I guess, whatever the user feels comfortable giving the system, right? So we've sort of been learning that people don't like when big companies are reading all their email and going through that stuff. So that would certainly be an interesting question. Where does this data come from?
And there's going to be levels of opt-in, obviously, for all.
Yeah,
all these
certainly,
things.
certainly.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Jonathan, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing what you guys are doing in the future.
Thank you.
Let's make it great.